Okay, so let's try this again because I didn't like my first one. This is week 1, getting to know your sandbag. By now, you already have a feel for it. You know what you're working with. Week 1, I work with a variable of percentages because you're working a shit ton of different muscles within your body that up until this point you probably haven't. You know, you may be lifting weights, things of that nature, where you're structurally working muscle groups. But the nice thing about sandbags is this is workable movement. So that day you're at the office and you go to grab a box, it's going to be the same movement that you're going to see when you do a high pull. You know, it's working all of the fine-tuned fascia. So here we go. Session 1, you want to do 3 rounds of this with anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes of break in between, depending, because you are starting to get a feel for all of this. Session 1, exercise 1 is nothing terribly difficult. All it is a basic clean. Hang, and then you're just going to kind of lift. And that's all there is to it. You're going to do 10 reps of that per session. That's 2. I pooted. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, when you're doing these, there's a little bit of bend in your knee. This isn't CrossFit, this is sandbags, and I know that when you do a clean regularly in CrossFit, they hang it and then they do this little jump. I don't like to take my feet off the ground. I see no reason for it. So what this does is it works your core, because your core should be activated, which means that all around, all those hip mobilizing exercises we did to warm up, they should all be activated and warm. Nice strong core, so when you bring up and around, you're kind of working a little bit of the back muscles, a little bit of the core, a little bit of the arms, your forearms. So again, you're not working with a lot of heavy weight this week. So that was 10 of those. Next one, real simple, floor presses. Come down, grab all the way down to the ground. I don't know if you can see me. And you can have handles, you can work with them. I like the solid feel of a bar. So when I do these, I just get a feel for where the sandbag is. Come down, back on the floor, and then you just lift. Make sure your core is engaged, and you lift for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, the object of these, obviously, is to work your arms, but it's also to teach you control. Eventually there will be, rounds where you're doing time sessions, but for this, it's a matter of feeling where you're pushing. And you're just 1, 2, building, the foundation for your pectoral muscles. You're working your shoulders, a little bit of arm, and again, your core, that's going to be activated. Now, working into that third exercise, it's called a high pull. You can do this however you feel is comfortable with the handles, or if you're working with a weight. I prefer, again, because I've always worked with barbells, and sandbags is still a relatively new thing within the last couple of years. Stand, nice strong core over here, and this is how it starts with it to your left. You're gonna bend your knees a little, engage your core so that everything's nice and compact, because we're not throwing out the back. We're gonna lift up, and it's all one movement. Up, over, and down. Up, over, and down. That's 1. So, if you want to try it with different handles, you can. So I'm going to. So again, a little bit of bend, booty out, because, you know, activating the core. 1, up, over, down, up, over, down. What you'll do is you'll feel as you're coming up, you'll feel it in the leg. You should feel it in the arm. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Again, you don't want to get sloppy. The movement is there. Hips forward, core activated, so that as you're lifting, you're not lifting with your back. You're lifting with everything else. Lifting up, you're activating your pectorals. As you're moving over, you're working your shoulders. You're also working your upper obliques. Coming back down, now you're working against gravity. So as it's coming back down, again, it's all control. You're not just picking it up and then just throwing it down. You'll get to that point at some point. That's later on. Right now, this is learning control. So when you lift, get that bend in your knee, active control, and then it's lift up, and then it's down. So that's session 1. All right, so you survived session 1. Should be relatively easy. Session 2, same bag. You should have already figured out your weights. For me, just because I didn't say it in session 1, I am working with a 20-pound weight, which is just shy of about 15% of my body weight. So there's that. Session 2, this is building your foundation. You start to get into some of the more big muscle groups. We're going to start with deadlifts, back squats, and then overhead presses. So, you know, you're, again, utilizing core, strengthening your trunk, quads, glutes, hamstrings, and working shoulders. So we're working all of the major groups. All right, and same thing, deadlift, probably sideways if you really needed it. Maybe a little bit of bend, booty out, a little bit of an arch. You don't want to do this. This is where you start utilizing lower back muscles that aren't meant to pick this kind of weight up. Core should be engaged. That's where the pelvic tilt comes into effect, which is why the booty goes out and that arch happens. So when you go to lift, you know, you kind of look silly, but form is everything. And then it's a lift up. So deadlift, real simple, handles, feet are about hips width the distance apart. And then again, booty out, nice strong shoulders, and then you're just gonna lift. And then it's 1, and don't lock out your knees. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you saw it's a nice proud chest, good bra, shoulders back. Again, makes that whole, you kind of look like a platypus, but whatever. Engaging the core. All right, back squats, pretty simple. Sandbag up onto shoulders. Okay, and again, we're back to that same kind of booty popping. These are squats. And I like to grab the ends so that I have more stability. Balance them so that they're not on your neck, more on your shoulders. Okay, when you come down, it's chin up, chest out, booty back, engage that core. And then when you come down, see, and then it's back up. So then we do that for 10. We do 1, 2, I might be tilting forward, I apologize. Breathe out on your way up, in on the way down. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so from here, you already got the bag there. Overhead press should be simple as coming down here. Again, I prefer to have my hands under the weight and not on a handle, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. And again, nice strong core, feet, hips width distance apart, directly underneath so that you have a nice line. You don't want to be out at this point. You don't want to be leaned forward or too far back, as that's where you start to engage the back, lower muscles, and you don't want to do that. So, all right, shoulder press, strong, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Try not to smack yourself in the face with the bar or the sandbag, but when you are doing it, you did see me kind of rocking a little. Yeah, I'm kind of bringing my neck back a little because I don't want to get smacked, but I want a nice line here. So it's 1, so your bar or your sandbag, it's gonna just brush past your knees, your nose, your knees. Jesus, I don't know which one is this. All right, that's session 2. Give me 2 more. All right, you have survived 2 sessions with me. Hang on. So here we are. Last session. This is an endurance session, but it's also an incredibly rudimentary way of giving you an idea of all the little spots where it's weak. Yes, the directions say as many reps as possible in a 15-minute time spot, but it's not about how many reps you got. Would it be awesome if you got 3 this day and in 3 days you managed to get 1 more? Yeah, but that's not the idea. The idea is form here. I'm going to show you the basics, and if you need to do it at a slower pace, do it at a slower pace. The idea is to make sure you're getting all of the movements correctly before you're adding in speed. So because I want to show you each and every movement, I'm just going to use my balancing ball. So you take your sandbag, or if you're using a weight, something of that nature, you're going to put it on one shoulder. So if you're out working from the right shoulder, the left leg becomes the active leg. You step forward, and that is going to be the leg that lowers you down, and then all the way down to your back. Kick that left arm out, legs are out in front, and then you're just going to cross over, which is activating core. And again, bending that left knee, tucking the right leg under, and letting the left knee and the left leg do the work. Okay, from here, this is where the windmill comes into effect. You raise it up, legs spread a little bit farther than hips width distance. You're going to take that left arm, so you're big X right now, kind of, and then you're just going to cross. Now again, activate that core. We're not utilizing our back muscles. We're activating the core, and you're just going to come across, and I want you to touch. If you can touch your toes, touch your toes. If you can't, you gotta touch a knee, that's fine. But the idea is the cross so that you are working all the way across. And then just sandbag goes on the other shoulder. And again, step forward with the right leg. This becomes your working leg. Bend, come down onto your butt, back, right arm out, all the way down, and then it's cross. So you're working, lifting the weight across the core to your right leg. That right leg is what picks you up. So it's up, and that just lifted your whole body. And again, this comes up, core nice and tight, arm out, and then you're gonna cross. That is officially 1 rep. You do 5 of those. You have to do them slowly. If you have to do them just like I explained them, then do it. As long as you make sure shoulders feel comfortable, core is correct. You know, you got a little bit of a pelvic tilt. You don't feel it in your lower back. If you can feel it in your lower back, you're doing something wrong. So you get through that, okay. And you're gonna be a little winded. This is where you're gonna push. You're gonna have your timer in front of you, and then you're gonna see whatever. You're gonna do a 30-second hit of high knees. And a high knee is just, you know, give it your all. This 30 seconds, at the end of this 30 seconds, you gotta rest. So just look at the finish line. Do your 30 seconds, give yourself a minute or two. I'm sure your heart rate will be gone. It should be at maximum threshold at that point because you should have given it all. You're gonna need a couple of minutes, but don't milk it. Take your minutes until you can breathe again. Start all over again. If you can only get 2 rounds in that 15 minutes, then so be it. The idea is that you're building all of those small cross member pieces in your body that you don't usually use. A lot of us, we sit, we don't walk enough, and all of those little bits and pieces just kind of get squishy. And then that's how we throw out a back. You know, you go to move and you're done for 3-4 days. This works all of those fine-tuned muscles that need more stability. Doing the windmill, you can, you know, as you see it, no weight on, and I'm working all kinds of muscles that you normally wouldn't. Why would you normally lift something up like this while you're doing this? While activating your core with a pelvic tilt. Anyway, so that is session 3. That's conditioning. When you finish that, hit the ground, give yourself a minute or 3 or 5. Drink water, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I cannot stress this enough. Your body needs fluids. Give yourself a moment, come back down to earth, hate me, call me nasty names. It's fine, it doesn't hurt my feelings. And then do your cool down. That's another video. It's very important that you give your muscles time to cool down, especially this time of year. I mean, I realize I'm in 2 layers and my snazzy hat that I stole from my son. But the cool down, even when it's hot out, is vital because you've just worked muscles and they're tired. And if you just go, okay, and now let's go do another thing, it doesn't give them enough time, you know, it doesn't give your body enough time to relax, to take in everything you've just done. So do your cool downs, do your stretches, and then go on with the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me for exercise in week 1. Hopefully you'll be back for week 2. Maybe you won't. I realize these videos are incredibly awful, like as far as for glares and things of that nature. This is my first time doing it. There's going to be a ton of naysayers that are going to tell me I talk too much, I don't give enough information, I don't do this, and that's fine. I want feedback. Let me know what I can do differently, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Be nice.